Closed captioning for the Casey Malone Show is sponsored by Hunter Stevens Land Title Agency. Integrity, service, and commitment you can trust.
Oh yeah, Casey Malone is serving up local. It's time for the stories of our region, the tastes, the sights, the sounds, and the people in and around the valley. Get ready for some local flavor on the Casey Malone Show.
Today we celebrate Hispanic History Month with an authentic dessert, and we visit some interesting venues in Alliance. But first, Guinness record holder for the world's largest troll collection is at the Troll Hole Museum. Well, there's so much to see here at the Troll Hole. You absolutely have to be taken on the tour. How did all of this start? Were you always a collector of troll dolls? Is that like what you did as a hobby?
I like to say it was very passively acquired because when I was little, at 5, I got a troll doll with my sisters for Christmas because that was in the 60s. And,
right.
And they were popular.
Yes.
So between then and on into the late 80s, there weren't very many available. We lived in the Southwest, so I had less than a dozen, not hardly any at all. Then we moved east to Cuyahoga Valley. Now we were flea markets, yard sales, and trolls started making a comeback. People started dumping collections of trolls in the late 90s, early 2000s. So when this project came to be, we started a renovation of a historic Main Street here in Alliance.
Yeah.
And we needed a hook. And my husband looked around and said, well, Guinness records bring a lot of publicity. You have a large pile of trolls. Why don't we see if we can get the record? And from there, history's been made. And
so when you counted those trolls for Guinness, how many?
So when I started, I had a mere 2,000 pieces. That's counting memorabilia and troll dolls. But Guinness, to get the record, they established the baseline. They're only counting the dolls, not all the memorabilia.
Right.
And each doll has to be different in one way. The first time we did it, we had 2,190. But I knew, based on the troll doll collecting community, that wasn't a very significant number. So the next time we attempted, it was around 6,000. But Guinness wanted more documentation, so by the time I got all that additional documentation to them, it was 8,130. But now we're over 9,000, closing in on 10,000 unique troll dolls in the collection. Because of all the publicity, now I'm a sanctuary for everyone to bring their beloved troll dolls here.
At least you have to feed them and take them out.
Yes.
Take them to the bathroom.
We integrate them into the museum and we do rehome and sell some. My husband's been pushing me to get out of the hoarding phase because I've now amassed over 40,000 pieces. Trolls, troll dolls, troll memorabilia.
You know, when I was little, I can remember getting, a troll doll, but we used to call them wishnicks.
Yes.
What is the difference between a wishnick and a troll? Is that a brand?
Yes, it's a brand. So the original fellow, his name was Thomas Dahm of Denmark.
Okay.
And he created the troll dolls and he called them damn trolls. Don't touch my damn trolls.
So this is a Dahm troll.
Yes. When that doll launched, other doll manufacturers looked at it, and the Uneeda Doll Company of the U.S. made a troll similar
to the original Dahm doll.
And they put double horseshoes as their slogan because they're lucky trolls.
Right.
On the bottom of their foot. And those went up all the way through 2007. The Uneeda Doll Company continued to pump out small numbers of troll dolls. So
those were the wishnicks. Okay, because we always referred to them as that.
Wishnicks.
So now what is this?
So 2016, The Truth of the Trolls comes out, DreamWorks.
This is all DreamWorks trolls.
Yep.
Wow.
Because DreamWorks, after Shrek, was a struggling company. They needed a big hit. They were going to do a troll-themed movie, and it definitely influenced my decision to feature trolls because I knew trolls were getting a movie. So their new CEO brought in to turn the company around, said, we'll do a Trolls movie, but go to Denmark and purchase the copyright to the iconic doll because the money's in the franchise merchandise. So sure enough, it was a winning success. NBC Universal bought DreamWorks, and now they own the copyright to the troll doll.
Really? So that's why these trolls have more of the pointy ears, and they look more like the original than...
So they kind of smurfed them up, I like to say. When you're out and about, you can find parts and pieces of trolls. The mountain trolls in particular are sensitive to the sunlight. If the sun touches them and they're young, they burst into 1,000,000 pieces. If they're older, they consolidate into a giant mountain-size object. Now, this here on the table,
is one that combusted.
no, what is that? We picked it out of the woods, we analyzed it and studied it. You see those growing on trees. What is it?
A mushroom.
It's a giant troll booger. They wipe their noses onto the tree. So those are all boogers.
You gotta come on, get out of here. That's a big troll booger. How did you analyze
so
that?
we have a call to action for our tour. It's called Are Trolls Real? You decide upon the evidence I present. It's to play with trolls.
Collector Barbie.
Because Barbie knew trolls were hot, so her little outfit with the troll.
So this would have been an early 90s one? Look at her, she's got one in her
92.
pants.
Yeah.
She's got a troll in her pants.
That might be off-color joke.
What would be your favorite troll? You have to have one that you really hold
it's a moving
near
target.
and dear.
Now, my favorite troll was the one you held over there with the orange crocheted panties, which I crocheted for him, because that was my first primo, rare, unique
Dom troll
that I got.
So he's your favorite.
Yeah, so my original troll doll, which we'll see downstairs, just a little 3-inch one. It is from the 60s, but to have the more limited production one, that was my first.
Your first
Yeah,
rare
so
one.
he always has a space, and then meanwhile it's a moving target because we'll see some different trolls as they come in. I'm like, oh, that's my prize. And when I do unboxings on YouTube, then I always look at whatever came in and I pick one and say, of this batch that just came in, this is my
best
favorite.
one. Okay, yeah.
So we'll see several of those as we go through the museum. It's like, wow. And there's the first one. Well,
that's your first guy? How did you learn so much about trolls?
Yeah, I basically learned almost everything I know from trolls from Sherry Groom, the owner.
Right, yeah.
I mean, when I started working here, like I applied, it's kind of a funny job that I was looking for a museum position because I've worked a lot with history stuff and I've given tours to some historical societies.
Yes.
But I wanted a more permanent museum position. And so I went on Indeed. I'm like, well, look for this gig. And then this job came up at the Troll Museum. I'm like, well, that's kind of a cool name. It's different.
Troll.
And so I applied here. Like Sherry called me back and she's like, well, this is the Troll Museum. We're all about trolls. And she ran through everything. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know all about that. But truthfully, I didn't know much about it.
Yeah.
So like when I started working here, I had to watch like a ton of movies, like 7 or 8 different movies have to do with the trolls. I think I've read like 4 books so far.
And then have you noticed, and like, she says they like to move. Have you noticed that they do on their own jump around and like some weird stuff happens?
Yeah, like some people might say, it's maybe the wind pressure, maybe someone closing a door, wind coming through, but we also had a ghost hunter come here not too long ago and say that the place was haunted with a good ghost. A friendly ghost.
Good ghost.
Yeah, like not one of the mean ones.
Casper.
Yeah, like more like Casper. But that's what I truly enjoy doing here is giving the tours.
Right. And the people you meet, I mean, they're from all over the world.
Yeah, we've had people here from all over Europe, China, South America, of course all over the United States, and of course Ohio here.
Exactly. We better get a lot more from Youngstown area, right?
Yeah, Youngstown. And we try to promote to everybody, and I try to tell all my friends even, hey, come on down here from Youngstown. Check this place out. It's unique. You're not going to see another museum like this. Plus, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records.
I know, how cool.
And that's like an ultimate selling point right there. People love to see that kind of thing.
Kamara Jewelers is the place to buy an engagement ring because we want a relationship with you that lasts a lifetime. Your commitment with her is the same commitment we have to you.
We want to sit down with you and teach you about diamonds so you're educated on what you're buying. We have the largest selection we ever have, which is the largest in the area, and at the best value. And if it's not something in our case, we could always custom make it. We can make any dream come true.
Get real, get Kamara.
Join the Isle and Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available. Given is living. Join the Isle and Purple Cat family. Employment opportunities are available at $13 an hour. Given is living.
Rulli Brothers has a great choice of quality cheeses. We use our relationship with Old World Houses to specially select the product and then have it custom cut and packaged by our own local artisans. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
Locally sourced is good, whether it's ingredients or a bank, and that's why my bank is Farmers National Bank. Since 1887, Farmers has remained rock solid through every economic condition. Having a bank with a history of safety, soundness, and conservative management is a must. It all boils down to this. You need a bank that will help you reach your goals. I do too, and Farmers is mine. Farmers National Bank, rock solid. It is sensory overload at the Troll Hole Museum. So now it's time to chill out at the Mad Dogs and Crazy Cats Cafe. Right across the way from the Troll Hole is
Kitty Corner across the parking lot. Kitty Corner.
It's Kitty Corner. And it is the Mad Dog Cat Cafe. I've got baby girl on my lap, and you can come sit and have a beverage and chill with the cats. They've got an outdoor area, they've got this area, and this is their playroom. And what made you come up with that idea?
So next to the Troll Hole Museum is the Feline History Museum. So Cat Fancy has their international headquarters there. They do the cat shows and the cat pedigrees.
Okay.
And they have Cat Memorabilia Museum. And I thought it would be a perfect complement for the people that love cats to come to the Cat Fancy and then come meet and see unique breeds of cats.
Boy, and you do have some beautiful cats.
We have a Ragdoll, a Siamese, an American Curl, and then we do some rehoming for rescue cats as well.
So, okay, that's great. So then if people are interested, they could come and get a cat, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have a stable of resident cats, and then we have a few adoptable ones.
Oh, and that is so needed. I gotta tell you, there's so many cats out there. And then I love all the stuff you have for sale up front.
Yes, we have a lot of donated vintage cat and dog memorabilia.
Oh.
Toys and stuff. Yeah.
I know. She doesn't like the way I'm touching her.
Yeah, just slow and soft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slow. I'm learning so much down here. Well, so you like that. Okay. Well, I'm learning.
Each cat will teach you what they like. Here comes Alfred.
All right.
He's a very mellow cat.
So after a stimulating day at the museum with the trolls, then you come and chill with the cats, all the cool cats. We have got some friends here from Youngstown. We've got Deborah, Linda, and Jennifer. Now, would you say that you're a crazy cat person?
Yes, absolutely.
And you guys had these shirts custom made?
Yes.
And what finally brought you down here to Alliance? You said you've been waiting to come for 4 years.
We just decided today was the day we were coming. I called and made arrangements, and
were you thrilled?
Yes.
Isn't it as cool as you thought it was going to be?
Oh, yes.
But you would highly recommend coming to Alliance?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes.
Worth the trip?
Yes, nice little town.
Yeah. Yes. It wasn't that long of a trip.
No, it's only 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Jupiter and Mars.
Now, interesting about this, the piano playing.
Right.
And on this, it's not created in the style of these people playing. This is actually the people playing. It's a digital fingerprint of them actually playing it. Now, one thing about it is I had a family member that was very big in country music.
Okay.
I had an uncle, he had a show in Louisiana. It was the most successful venue for launching people in business of anything in history. 22 Hall of Famers got to start on his show. Most people know my uncle because he's the one who originally said Elvis has left the building.
That was your uncle?
That was my uncle.
What was his name?
Horace Logan.
Horace Logan.
Oh, he went by Hoss.
Okay.
And I inherited all his stuff when he died. And I've donated most of it. I've still got a few things. I got original pictures. I still have his belt buckle, said Louisiana Hayride with his name Hoss on the back. And most of it, though, I donated to the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So that was my uncle. On my mom's side family, On my dad's side of the family, I had another uncle who is actually a member of the Hall of Fame. He owned the largest country western nightclub in the United States for years. Had his own TV show.
Where was that?
In Dallas. That's where I'm home. That's my home.
Oh, you're from Dallas.
Dallas. The Longhorn Ballroom was my uncle's.
That was your uncle, the Longhorn.
In Dallas was the largest country western nightclub for years and years. And
boy, you got country western in your blood.
And what's one now? Thing about it, he's not famous, but his connections were famous because he was business partners with Jack Ruby.
No way.
Yeah.
Because they said Jack Ruby was a nightclub owner.
Yes, he was called a Carousel in Dallas. And now my uncle and Jack Ruby was partners for a while, but my uncle caught him stealing money from the club, so they
split up.
Yeah. And then it's about 2 years later, or 3 years later, something like that, the Kennedy assassination took place. And Ruby killed Oswald. Yeah. And the rest is history.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
You just told me a lot in the last 5 minutes. I cannot
the
believe
interesting
this.
thing about it, with the Kennedy assassination, is my cousin on my mom's side of the family, not my dad, is the one you heard of the magic bullet.
Yes.
He's the one who found the magic bullet on the elevator in Dallas because he was the head of engineering for Parkland Hospital, which is where they took
President Kennedy.
He's the one who prepared and moved things in and out of the things when they brought the president and the governor in, and he's the one who discovered the magic bullet. I just find it funny, is all these connections I have in my family to famous people.
Famous people, and like one of the most famous assassinations like in the history.
Yeah, but that is Julius Caesar, yes.
And now you're in Alliance, Ohio.
Yeah.
Look at it. See, everybody's got a cool story. Everybody's got a cool story. And how did you meet Sherry?
Through the internet.
Really?
Yeah, and she found me, like probably lonelypeople.com, I don't know. I was living in Colorado, and she grew up out there.
Right.
Her father's a National Park Ranger, and she came out to visit her father for Thanksgiving. It'll be 17 years this November, and that's when we met. And 6 months later, I was in Ohio, and we was married.
Rulli Brothers is way ahead of the competition. Check out Rulli Spice World, where you can buy bulk herbs and spices, plus candies, nuts, and fillings for pennies on the dollar. At Rulli Brothers Market, our family is in the store.
I'm Elizabeth Bernard. For more than 30 years, I've provided our Valley with sound legal advice. My associate Jennifer Rigetti and I will be your legal representatives if you're involved in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident. Don't try to handle it yourself. We'll navigate the red tape of dealing with doctors, medical insurance, and all the obstacles that you'll face. Remember, there are no upfront fees on personal injury cases, and hiring a lawyer does not mean you have to go to court.
Call attorney Elizabeth Bernard, local legal experience for more than 30 years.
It's happening now. Construction is underway at GabaCamp, a year-round destination for adults with disabilities and their families to get away, close to home, accessible to all, with no barriers. Donate now to GabaCamp. Giving is living.
I've got a really distinguished guest in my kitchen today. Joining me is Dr. Alicia Prieto, and she is a distinguished math professor down at YSU. And you're also with the Honors College.
Yes, I am the director for academic programs at the Honors College as well at YSU. Yeah.
We're thrilled to have her. She's been here for 10 years already, and it is Hispanic Heritage Month. And Grimilda Ocasio,
yes,
she reached out and says, you've got to have Lisa on. And I am really looking forward to this segment. Now, what countries denotes all the Hispanics? What takes in all of the Hispanic heritage?
So Hispanic is any person that comes from a country or who's a descendant of somebody that comes from a country that speaks Spanish. So that's all the countries in Latin America and Spain. And then Latino means somebody that is from the continent of America and is of Latin descent. So any of the languages that are Latin, so French or Portuguese or Spanish. So for example, the countries that are also Hispanic, but also you add Haiti, you add Brazil, you add all of the countries that speak
I
Latin
had no idea.
languages.
When you were explaining that to me, I mean, it is a huge umbrella.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And if you go to YSU's website and go into their calendar, they have all kind of cool events, running through October 15th. It's the whole month. And they've got a cooking display down at the new kitchen at the library. You're going to be making queso. There's a Frida Kahlo. I mean, there's a lot of neat stuff.
Yes.
So do go to that calendar.
And they're all free, so.
And they're free. And it's a lot of fun. But what are we making today?
We're making Carlotas de Limon. I wanted to make something that you cannot find, on Mexican restaurants.
Yes.
So something different that we actually eat in Mexico. So this is a dessert that is, I guess, like a key lime pie, but in Mexican style.
But the Mexican version. And you can use as much lime as you want to make it. I love the tang. I am a lime fan.
I am a big lime fan.
And so in Guadalajara, that is where she hails from.
Yeah.
This is what your mom and grandma would make?
Yes, they would. It wasn't my favorite growing up because I'm a big chocolate person.
Yes.
So to me, the US is heaven for desserts.
Oh my gosh.
I think that it's the best country in the world for desserts. But this, every time I make it here, everybody loves it, especially on those warm days. It's really refreshing. For this recipe, you will need 1 can of evaporated milk, 1 can of condensed milk, 5 to 10 limes depending on the taste, 3 packages of Maria cookies, and raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, or strawberries to garnish.
What's beautiful about this is you don't need to preheat an oven.
Nope.
All you need, 9-9 pan. Now this will make this, but if you double this recipe, it'll be a 9x13. So we're only making the smaller portion. All right, so here we go.
So we're gonna get our condensed milk and we're gonna put it in a bowl because we're gonna mix all the milks and the lime in the bowl.
Okay.
And what I like to do is I like to use the evaporated milk to get the rest of the condensed milk because it gets sticky. And then, of course,
mix it up and get it all out
and
of there.
get it all out.
Nice.
And then we're gonna use your fancy new squeezer.
I know. Okay, wait till you see this. It's from Vintage Kitchen. My sister, I've been looking at this, and my sister Christine, thank you, Chrissy, bought me this for my birthday. And you cannot believe what a great citrus juicer this is. So you put it in, and I can even do 2 limes at a time.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm gonna do that and watch this. Okay. And you squeeze down.
And then you just pour.
And then look.
I love that.
Isn't it beautiful? I
want
could
one.
not wait to use this. And look it gets every last drop. So that was one lime. How many do you think we're gonna need?
I think we're gonna try with 5 and then we're gonna try it and see if we need more.
All right, here we go. So that's all
right.
5.
Perfect.
You think that'll be enough?
We might need another one. Nice. I like it. I think we might need one more lime.
I'm on it. I'm
Yep.
on it. You know how much I like this thing. Okay.
But taste it. I think some people like it more limey, some people like it more sweet. So, all right, I think.
Okay, I'll give you a
I'm
fresh spoon.
Yes, fresh spoon. Not the same spoon.
Don't want to freak people out.
And I think that tastes sweet enough. So,
You're in charge.
Yeah, so it's pretty easy. All you do is you grab your cookies and you put a layer, just like you would like a lasagna, something like that. You just layer your cookies. Sometimes I like to put the bottom layer a little bit heavier on cookies. This is also a very cheap recipe. So, I mean, you can get to go somewhere that you have to go on a dinner and you bring something really cheap and that looks really fancy. So, and then we're gonna put.
I mean, this is kind of foolproof.
Yeah, no, it's very, very easy. And you could also always experiment on, I make this for my partner. He really likes this. So when I make it, he sometimes likes it a little bit more limey. So we'll put this layer here and then the top layer with the red.
Oh, you were such a good guest.
I did that right before going to the opening ceremony for Hispanic Heritage Month.
So how do you like Youngstown State?
I love YSU and I love Youngstown. I really like the So when I was interviewing for jobs, I went to 4 different places all around the US. And this was my last interview, and I had 3 offers already from the other 3 places.
Oh, did you?
And like they were more money and they were like a little better schools. But there's something about Youngstown. And I just loved it here. And it snowed when I came to my interview, so that like almost sold it to me. Like, there's snow, it's pretty. The people here.
And you like the snow.
I like the people here. I like the snow.
So what we're gonna do is put this away for a few hours, and by the miracle of television, we are gonna have one to sample.
Salud.
Salud. First bite. Okay, I am dying to taste this. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Light. Mm-hmm. Creamy, limey, fruity. This is ideal.
Okay. Good. I'm glad you like it.
This is delicious. I love this.
Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you.
Doctor. This is quite...
Was this better than a calculus class?
Oh my, way better. I couldn't even get geometry going. Honestly, celebrate this. You can celebrate with this every day. You don't have to wait for Hispanic Heritage
Definitely.
Month. Yes. Go to my website, CaseyMaloneShow.com, and look for this recipe. You are going to love it.
Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you. You're adorable.
Thanks.
The Casey Malone Show is sponsored in part by Denise and John York and the DeBartolo Corporation.